Good evening and welcome to the Marshall Hangout with myself, Kerry-anne, and one of my favourite humans. It is Martin Schofield. You'll know him from WONDERboom, Martin Rocka in the Six Shop, Biggie P and LMS. But you've done so much, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you for saying that. It's so nice to be hanging out with you on the Hangout.
It's always great hanging out with you.
Thank you.
I think you're such a ray of sunshine, and I think you just make me smile every time I see you.
Good.
So thank you.
If that's something you can do for someone without much effort, then that's fantastic.
No effort at all.
That's fantastic.
You open your mouth and I'm on the floor when you're right. So. But it's great chatting to you.
My mum used to as well, usually out of embarrassment.
Oh no, Marty, there's something so special about you. Your heart is pure and just made of gold. So.
Well, thank you. That's a lot to live up to, yeah?
You don't have to live up to it. You've done it. It's done. Take the box. But Marty, as always, we start from the beginning. It's a little 25-minute episode of your life. We're rolling it all into one small episode.
Let's go. You can shut me up when you want to.
Cool.
And I'll be honest without being in jail. Go for it.
Okay, cool. I remember going to Marilyn's in Kempton Park and the Italian club in Bedford View and watching Sugar Drive and WONDERboom and it was just such a special time to be alive and to be in the music industry. Morgan's Cat for the band,
yes.
The band, Battle of the Bands, all of that stuff, the waterfront. Such good times, but you didn't start off in WONDERboom, so tell us about who you started with and where you started.
Okay. A condensed version of the story. I was in my high school band with some very good friends, and one of them happened to be Gavin Vinant, the bass player from Sugar Drive.
Yeah.
Who turned out to be the bass player from Sugar Drive. We were in a school band with some mates, and we had a fantastic time. And I went to go study in England in the early 90s, and I left all that behind. And then I came back here, met up with Wade, bass player from WONDERboom, through a mutual friend. And we got the WONDERboom thing kicked off. We eventually met Sido about a year into that journey, and we became a mad outfit called Eight-Legged Groove Machine, which again is ancient history, but we were just very, very high white boys in a new South Africa, and we felt like the world was at our feet, so we just did anything and everything, and that was the foundation of WONDERboom. Some of those songs that we wrote in Eight-Legged Groove Machine are still played in WONDERboom set lists.
And when was that? Like
She
26
Cries,
years ago?
Jafta, and Green Fever, and Bang were all songs from Eight-Legged Groove Machine.
That's incredible.
Crazy to think, actually.
Yeah.
That was, I came back from studying in 93. So it was 93, 94, Eight-Legged Groove Machine.
Wow.
And that was, we really kind of dug our roots in, and that's when...
So that is 26 years ago.
Yeah, I just literally come back from England studying as a student, and I had all these mad ideas and naive ideas on what a band should be and what a band shouldn't be, and what cool music is and what cool music isn't. And
well, not so naive. You're still making music all these years later.
Yeah,
and
sure.
You've got such a big fan base. And this show is usually quite a light, fun show. But I do want to ask you a question.
Okay. Sounds heavy.
And it is going to be heavy.
This is like, Martin, we need to talk.
Yeah, we need
like,
to have the talk.
No. It's like when Cyril was addressing us during lockdown, and the press used to come on, and I always used to feel like he was going,
nervous. A little bit nervous.
Kerry-anne, I want to tell you something. It's not you, it's me. Yeah. And that vibe, you know. Anyway, yeah.
No,
okay, go on.
It's not that heavy, but I've often wondered what it is about WONDERboom, because you have such loyal fans. People will kill for you, they'll travel cross country to see you. But I feel like you should have gotten and should still be getting a lot more respect and props than you get.
Well, thank you.
From across the board.
Well, thank you, first of all. And for me, I'll put it in a nutshell for you, and each one of us in WONDERboom will have a different take on it. Jonathan and Wade and Cito and myself will all have a different take on it, perhaps. My take on it is this. WONDERboom were never and have never been the flavor of the month. We were never in all the newspapers, magazines at the same time back in the day, and on telly and on the radio. Yep. There were these sporadic incidents of us where a lot of other artists and bands got this mass vomit exposure out of their whole thing. And WONDERboom was kind of bled out over the years. We've like the best kept secrets, you know. To this day, we'll still have, it happens to us every gig, where someone will come up after 25 years and go, this is the first time I've seen you guys. Or they'll go, this is the other classic scenario, WONDERboom, yeah, of course I know you guys. I just didn't know those were your songs.
Never.
Promise you. It happens to us gig after gig. Or, oh, I know all those songs. Is that you guys?
Wow.
So somehow, people have had a very missed connection over the years with the music and the name and the band. Also, because a lot of Afrikaans people called us WONDERboom back in the day, which is fine. So a lot of people brought that, and that brought its own confusion as to what is this band? Are they English, Afrikaans? Again, people still come to us after shows and go, "Julle ook so right, maar ek het gedog julle sing in Afrikaans." You know, that kind of thing.
You said that really well, by the way.
I've heard it a lot. And I always go, nee, eintlik is ons Afrikaans heeltemal kak. But we're not actually Afrikaans. So that brought its own confusion into the mix, I think. And then we've just kept going. So going back to why maybe people like us or enjoy us, we as a band have just kept what we're doing. We run our own race on our own track. It's cool. Other bands have come and gone around us and been very successful in styles and this and that and the other. We've kind of just kept on our track doing what we do. And we still love it. We still love it.
Every
all
time
of us.
I watch you on stage, whether it's an intimate show, whether it's a storyteller's, whether you're opening for Guns N' Roses, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You bring the same energy, the same passion, the same vibe to every single show, and you all give 100% every single time.
Thank you. We
so consistent.
Yeah, we try, because that's, you know, someone asked me the other day as well. It's a long story, but also history of the band, history. And I said, one of the issues, why do you think you're still together and people still love you and you guys still will go out there every show and just deliver? And I said to her, the truth is we've never been rich. There's never been enough money for us to fight about.
Yeah.
As soon as there's millions involved, or even not, to some bands, as soon as there's money involved, then it starts getting a little bit, what's yours, what's mine, things go pear. Where we cleared that up very much from the beginning in WONDERboom. We were like, okay, people will earn what they do, and you know, you'll get paid. You write the song and it's your song. That's your song, you know. It's not a case of we just have to kind of give freely into WONDERboom. We've had nice kind of guidelines or borders with each other as well over the years, which helps the relationship. Yeah. Good boundaries. That's the word I'm looking for. Like good boundaries with each other. We learn not to step on each other's toes too much.
It's actually
while still being brutal.
Well, I'll get to that because. But I know how close you are because you're besties as well.
Yes.
You're besties.
It's more. It's a little bit.
Much.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. WONDERboom is definitely a little bit more about the whole thing than a business or music or people, or it's all of that. It's a lifestyle. It's a thing, and everyone gets something different from it, which is absolutely cool with me.
Yeah. It's great because you're such different personalities, but you just gel so nicely together. And having Jono in the band, he's just so special as well.
Yeah, when Jono joined us after Garth's passing, it was obviously an adjustment, and we were finding our feet again. But when Sido and myself started writing again, and like really got on the writing train of the Rising Sun album and that next kind of step, we knew that we had a great team with Jono as well. We were like, yeah, cool, he can play, and he's solid, and he's. I think Garth was also extremely solid. After Danny, who was a great entertainer, we wanted a great drummer.
Yeah. And filling Garth's
Impossible.
shoes, impossible.
Impossible.
Absolutely impossible.
So what Jono did, Jono was so right. When Jono stepped up to the plate, it was just a new pair of shoes. There was no shoe filling.
Yeah.
Jono was a new pair of shoes.
Completely different pair of shoes, and just so easy to work with, and he just brings something so special to the band. I mean, he is a great player. So.
Yeah, and enthusiasm and youth, and then Sido, Wade, and myself. We've been together so long, literally since we were kids, that it's weird for anyone else. I understand the mentality of someone else trying to get into that space
exactly.
is very, very difficult between the three of us, because there's so much history there, so much. And then in a writing space, it's extremely difficult for anyone to get in with me and Sido, because we've written so much together over the years that we're on the same page,
Absolutely, you are. But the songs you've written over the years are just magic, and you are a Stones, Beatles type. You're a Lennon, McCartney type. You complement each other so nicely with your songwriting and with your performance, and whether you're doing a full-on WONDERboom show or when you just do the show with Sito, it's so special. And thank you for being honest about how you feel about WONDERboom, because I'll be there, and everyone in the crowd are in awe of your performance and what you all bring to the show, and I sometimes just don't understand
why we don't live in Beverly Hills and drive limos to work.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
No, thank you for that, and a lot of people have expressed that frustration to us.
Yeah.
And we kind of have gone, this is the path we've walked.
Yeah.
This is what we've done with our lives, and it's been cool because we've also just done whatever we pretty much wanted to do.
As you said, your own car and your own lane, and that's just such a
And other bands have been way more famous and rich than us in this country, but we've seen them come and go.
Yeah. No.
So
I take my invisible hat off to you, because you've all remained so true to the music and to each other that that's obviously why it still works.
Thank you. And probably to our detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
The kind of purity or the family brotherhood of it, where we'll just tolerate each other to the end.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky.
We're extremely lucky.
It's the music industry, and being in a band is not an easy game. A lot of people might think it is. It's difficult to stay together. It's difficult to go through the ups and downs. It's difficult to sit back and go, why do people not get us or appreciate us as much as they should possibly? Sure. And not in an egotistical sense or anything like that. Just, you are so hardworking. You know your songs are good. They're on the radio. You bring it every time. And so I'm not sure, but the people that do love you really love you, and they've been there.
Right.
Through thick and thin.
Our fans are solid. They're not into us this week and then next week something else. They're like solid.
Yeah.
And especially through this kind of pandemic corona period as well, I think it's just made us all really appreciate each other even more, and what we are lucky enough to have done for so many years, and that people still care. That's what blows my brain as well. Like, people still care. Like, it's come to watch us and listen to our albums and ask us about lyrics of like, what about this lyric? I'm just fascinated that after so long that people still care, and it's awesome.
No, we really do, and we love you, and a world without WONDERboom is a world that sucks. So we're happy to have WONDERboom. And
excellent.
Now let's talk about Martin Rocka and the Sex Shop. What a band.
Thank you. I'll tell him.
Tell that guy.
I'll tell that guy. He's a dirty, 6'5" tall, chicken-eating, card-playing, whiskey swilling terrible person.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah, no, Martin Rocka, very much fun, very much how, without again going too long, like historical stories, it's something that I really loved as a kid. That sound of like raw rock and roll was really appealing to me, like really appealing. Where I was just like, wow, yeah, I must learn how to do that. And that's kind of how I started playing. So for me to do the Martin Rocka thing was a very natural, easy thing. I was never a great singer in choir. I was always moved to the back of the thing. And often in studio, Sudo will go like, don't help me. And I'm like, cool. So no singing. So, but just because I can't sing, it doesn't mean that I won't. So Martin Rocka was that.
I think I'm pretty much the worst singer ever, but I really want to be in a band.
Like, I want to sing, and I want to play. So yeah, Martin Rocka was a big release for me. At pretty much WONDERboom's first height, I was like, cool, that's that. And I've achieved that and that, but I always wanted to do this very dirty B-grade horror alternative thing. And where I didn't have to worry about singles and radio and whatever. If they played on the radio, great. If they didn't, that was also fine. But I knew the gigs were going to be full, and those people that were at those gigs were there because of that music.
Well,
and they weren't there. They weren't there because that was the mask and the name as well. They weren't there because it was associated to WONDERboom in any way. Yeah. It was its own entity.
But who else is doing that genre of music?
Not many people. The closest one nowadays are Medicine Dolls.
Ah, yes, Medicine Dolls.
Bless them.
Great band.
Bless the dirty, sleazy, slutty souls.
Yeah, Medicine Dolls are great. Anti-retro vinyls. First and now Medicine Dolls, but just such a great band. If you haven't checked them out, please do so. And please get yourself to a Martin Rocka and the Six Shop gig if you haven't done so yet, because it is all kinds of fun. And it's just that kind of band you can just kind of shake it to. Yeah. And you just really feel that old school. And
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it'll make you shake and quiver to the bone. And it's good dirty fun, as you know.
It is.
It's
it
good
is.
Dirty fun.
And I love your style. I wish... Okay, so my question to you is still coming.
Okay.
But if
I thought it was just where you were sitting. Yeah.
For me, if you weren't a musician, what would you be?
A vet.
Really?
But I'm shit at math and science, so I had no chance. But if anything, a vet.
Okay, because I've always thought that question about you, and very obviously, my first one would be like, comedian.
My mum always says that. She's like, you should have been on a stage telling jokes and doing accents. That's what you should have been doing.
You're so funny, but more than that.
Thank you.
Oof, your style. You should have been a fashion designer. That's my answer, because you've just got such great style and...
Wow, thank you. That's not something that I have ever discussed ever in a music interview, but okay, thank you.
Well,
I'll take it.
You've just got such style, and I guess your Martin Rocka sound and the way you dress comes from, I guess, the 20s, the 50s.
The very 50s era, yeah, after the war, when people were like, we're not playing the game anymore. We are going to wear half a cow on our back and blue jeans rolled up this high and shoes this thick and drive cars fast. I'm like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we know there hasn't been any new music since Elvis anyway. Am I wrong?
Well, there's a band who did a cover of Blue Suede Shoes. They're called the Six Shop.
Rock and roll is just, and that primal rock and roll is just, I mean, I'm into so much music and I record so many different kinds of music with so many different artists, and when you're doing session work, it's whatever it is. Yeah. It's whatever it is, and it's cool and you love it because it's music and you're getting paid. But the love of why you're here in the first place, that was rockabilly and rock and roll and kind of more punky psychobilly stuff for me when I was growing up. Yeah. My ears were just like, yes, surf music and the twang on. I, as a kid, saw Dirty Dancing 13 times because of the soundtrack. I was like, oh, that's the sound that my ears are like, yes, Yes, that whole surf 50s drenched in reverb, 60s ballady crooner stuff. I was just like, it spoke to me somewhere. I was like, my mum always says like, you were born like 30 years too late.
You were. You were. But I'm glad.
What an exciting time for the planet, the 50s, man. The automobile, the washing machine, chicks in short dresses. And people were cool with it. Rock and roll. The white-black music crossover for the first time. Yes, please. Yes, please.
I'm feeling so chatting to you. I want to go straight from here to a gig. Like, let's go.
Let's play music.
Let's go.
I suppose personally, I have been a bit obsessed with music in my life. Maybe to a point of sometimes a bit like stupid, like where it's your hobby and your living and your. The only thing that took me away from that for many years was skydiving. As you know, jumping out of airplanes was a thing for me. It was the only thing that came close to music ever. But music, just loved it. Like that love what you're saying. Let's go to a gig. Like, yeah, let's play music. Like I really love music, but I really love guitar. And there's a lot of guitar players in this country that are much better than me. Much better technically or whatever. But I just love that instrument so much. Like I love playing it. I love and to be technically good is great, and I am like technically cool in that. But there's always the important thing in life is to know that there's always someone better than you and someone worse than you, and the secret is figuring out who's who. But yeah, man, playing that thing is still very important to me.
Well, I guess there's always going to be someone better than you and someone worse than you. But I think the difference is you're so easy to work with, and you are a brilliant player, and that's why you've worked on Idols.
No, thank you. Sure.
It's why you've done so much session work. It's why you've got Biggie P and LMS with Paulie Flynn from Sugar Drive. It's why you work with the artists you do in Martin Rocka and WONDERboom. And all of these artists you work with are so good at what they do, and they all want a piece of you in their lives because of who you are and how you play.
That's also cool. Thank you. And I've been lucky enough in my career when I do session work to be employed for what I do, which I don't really know what that is actually.
Playing a fool.
Whatever it is that I do, and if people like it, that's great.
Okay, Martin's going to jam a little tune for us in just a bit. But before that, grab your phone there.
Okay. Are you going to get yours?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Are we going to do this on camera for people at home or for you?
No, this is only for me.
Okay, this is only for Kerry-anne. We said no in-jokes, but here we go. Have you got it?
Got it.
Okay.
How to speak Kiwi, lesson 1. Go. Okay.
How to speak like you're a real All Black. All right. We've got to get this up to the camera so they can see it.
Okay.
All right. I have to do that one, hey?
Yes.
Okay. Follow my finger.
How do you say that?
Can you see it?
Socks pick.
Socks pick. The thing we go down to the shop and buy to drink.
Yes.
Socks pick.
Socks pick. Lesson 1.
We find it very funny, most of us. The other thing is those.
Yes. Bears.
Those
large
are things.
Savage animals found in the US.
Last one, because we do find this quite funny. But you really got to read this stuff. And here's the one I'm going to make Kerry-anne say. My car was broken last week, so I took it to the...
McKinnock. There it is. You're welcome. For those who want to skip town, relocate, where the grass is possibly greener, here.
Is all the language you're going to need.
You might also need fish. That's a marine creature. And tune in again next week for more lessons on how to speak Kiwi. Oh, wowzers.
Okay.
Okay, quick shot.
Okay, quick shot questions. No thinking,
fire.
just go.
Yeah.
Okay, poo poo. Pew pew. By the way,
Facebook.
pew pew. I got to tell you this quickly.
Okay, go.
I've got a deaf Boston Terrier. She's beautiful. Her name's Jazzy because this is her name, Jazz Hands. When I do this to her and go, pew pew, pew pew, she rolls over dead.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I call her nicknames Pew Pew. Pew Pew, Pew Pew.
Super cute.
Anyway.
Top 3 movies.
I can read, but I don't.
Fine.
Okay, top 3 movies.
That come to you. That, the
They
ones that
don't.
are
They
coming to you
don't.
right now.
They don't. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I'm not a great movie head, but there's some that stick with me. Ferris Bueller's Day Off I loved as a kid. Dirty Dancing I loved because of the soundtrack, and anything by Tarantino.
Awesome. You're going on holiday to
I'm listening.
Paris.
Yes.
Which 3 bands are you taking with you?
Local bands.
Yes.
But we're going on holiday. We're going to play.
We're going on holiday.
We're going to Joel.
Fun. We're going for the Joel.
Okay. If we're going for the Joel, then we have to go with. I'll be definitely taking. I think the Parlotones with us. If we're going for the Joel, those boys can Joel hard. I'd have to take Tamara Day with me if we're going for the Joel. She Joel's most oaks finished that I've ever seen before she was a mommy. And another band, let me think quickly, a local band that would Joel. Very possibly Perez back in the day. Nick, who I just saw, who was here. You guys will see it on the episode soon as well. Perez, bad lads to tour with. Done it a few times. Yeah.
True. Okay. Now you're going for the jam. You're going on a tour.
Yep.
Which 3 bands are you going because you want to play with them?
And we want to represent and
Yeah.
we want to.
Yeah.
Boo. Three bands including us, or
No, 3 bands excluding.
excluding us? Okay, so definitely take Boo. Definitely take the Medicine Dolls, because I really dig them. And a good representative band of this country. Someone who's kind of across the board and like quite representative. I'd have to go with like someone like Freshly Ground, who's like super representative. Yeah?
Good choices. Can't believe you didn't choose me.
You're not in a band!
I want to be in a band.
Oh, you've got a song first.
Oh. One day.
One day. That's all you need. You got a house classic. One day. One day. One day. One day. See? Just give me a sample of your voice. I'll chop it up for you.
I'm in.
You're a band.
I'm a band.
You are a band.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
You should be band.
Marty, up and coming bands out there, what can you tell them? And I know a lot of people are like, remain humble, do this, do it for whatever reason.
It depends what perspective you mean from. If you mean from a musical perspective, be as good as you possibly can at your craft. From a people perspective, remember that music is actually secondary because you make music with people and the notes come afterwards. So make sure your relationships are cool with people. And then in terms of priority, just put stuff that's real in front of everything else that means nothing. So, kids, if that means anything to you, stay in school if you have to. But yeah, I hope that means something to you. That's as simply as I can put it.
Okay, so
Don't
we're
be a
about to
dick.
wrap. Yeah, good advice. We're about to wrap. Firstly, what's on the cards for Martin Schofield?
Okay.
What are we looking forward to in the next couple of months?
In the next couple of months, so I've just recorded an album, session work we're last week for Wendy Oldfield with just music, which is always nice for me to do big chunks of work like that. I'm doing Cedo's side project stuff, Blood Honey. So I'm doing guitar and his stuff. We've got WONDERboom stuff coming up. We just shot a video for Rabbit Hole, which I believe you might be spinning.
Yes, just after this interview, luckily for us.
So we've just done that. We've actually got a December tour, which we're so stoked about after being cooped up in Joburg since March.
Of course. I
do enjoy teaching. I have a couple of people that I like to teach. I don't teach on the mass scale, but I have a few people I really like to share knowledge with. Mm-hmm. Some of them are very famous. Some of them have sold way more albums than I have. But it's nice to communicate music with them, you know?
Yeah, nice just to jam and to maybe, I guess, even learn from each other, really, at the end of the day.
So, yeah, there's that. And then I definitely want to take my wife and head out of town somewhere just for a few days. That would be fantastic. I do love my house and I do love my suburb and I do love my dogs and my life and everything, but I like to get away from it once in a while. And lockdown was the longest period I've ever spent in Joburg since I was 16 in a long period.
It's been a crazy time.
Quite intense. But my hope after all of this comes and goes, or whatever it does, is that we'll all just treat each other a bit better, all 7.8 billion of us, you know? Because we're generally knobs to each other, as a rule.
Yeah. Full of good advice, the amazing Martin Schofield. Before you go, anyone you'd like to just send a special shout out to?
Right now, I'd like to send a real special shout out to Raymond Green, one of the most fantastic guitar players that I know, session players, who was in a bad accident on stage a couple of weeks ago. On a stage, he fell through the stage. He was in real bad conditions. He had to have quite a few operations. And anyway, Raymond, I'm wishing you all the best, Raymond Green, and all of us musicians everywhere. I hope you're back on track soon because your playing will be sorely missed.
And how do we help? How do we get involved?
So,
how do we send our wishes and any kind of donations?
I think there is a page. Marco Gomes from Prime Circle has actually started a Help Raymond page and Help His Family page. And if you just go onto Facebook and go Raymond Green or Raymond Green Guitarist, it'll come up and there's all sorts of links and stuff. You can go help Ray out. So anyway, I'd like to shout out to Ray. Also to a very good friend of mine, also a musician, Craig Massive, DJ, keyboard player from Flash Republic, who went in for brain surgery a couple of weeks ago. So Craig Massive, lots of loves. So yeah, there's a lot of people in not great positions, so send you the best.
Sending light strongs and lots of love to you, and we're here for you. The one good thing about, there's so many, but one of the good things about being in the music industry is the love, and people show up for you when you need them, I think.
People
we
do.
got each other's backs,
People
so
do show up for me, and for everyone. I'll have to say this as well, is that as challenging as our politics are in this country, compared to a lot of countries, we still get quite a bit of help with the arts. Hear me now, it's not a big thing, but some countries, some people get zero. There is a little bit of push in this country to look after that in whichever way, shape or form, so there is that there. So it can help, and it can really kind of bolster industry, you know?
Yeah, good. Well, it's been amazing spending the night with you, as always. Just any kind of time I can have with you, I'll grab with both hands.
Thank you.
You make me smile and you make my heart smile.
And also, I think hanging out with you just generally, like for the last 30 years or whatever it's been.
Yes.
But yeah, man, cool people. No time for flex.
Yeah. Well said. It's been great chatting to the very real, the very amazing Martin Schofield. Check out WONDERboom's new video, Rabbit Hole. It's on this very episode. And check out everything that Martin Schofield does if you're looking for a session or just a rad homie. He's your guy. Thank you so much for checking out another episode. A big shout out to Diaz, to Dee, and to Dane behind the scenes. I'm Kerry-anne, and this is the amazing Marty Schofield. Let's go for some socks picks.
Let's have a 6-pack of coffee.
Yes.
All right, come on.
Thank you.